I'm super excited that you're all here with us today. Thank you for joining us. We'll get started now because we don't want to take too much of your time. I don't think Raquel needs any introduction. She is what I call, and I get goosebumps when I say this, but you can't see them, my partner in crime. We've been working together for many years now with great pleasure. So I can't think of a better person to do this presentation. And I will tell you that as a client of mine, because Raquel also happens to be my client, she does super fun, interactive, please pay attention. And I say this in the nicest way possible because every time she presents, the feedback is incredible. So, Raquel, without any further ado, I will mute myself. If you have any questions, we'll contemplate them. Raquel, do you want to do that as you go along, or do you want to do it at the end?
Whatever you like, Vivian. We can stop in between because there's like different topics, and so maybe we sort it out there and
Okay.
off we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I will mute myself. Hi, Ruth. Un beso. Okay. Take it away, Miss Raquel.
Here we go, guys. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about the do's and the don'ts of a presentation. And provocative, it's don't talk about the color of the curtains. We're going to get to that one at the end, but that's like the whole point of it. So let's start. And I'm not a teacher. You probably know that. And the thing is this, but I've been doing presentation for quite a long time. So I found out there are some things that work and some things that don't work that much. So I'm going to give you, my tips for the things that I know that at least they work for me. And so I hope they work for you too. So here we go. First one. First one. Here we go. So if I start a presentation, right, and I talk about a property, it could be a destination. I'm going to say property because I'm a hotelier, but the same thing applies to a destination, to an experience, to whatever. It's just that it's going to be easier for me. So the thing is this, if I'm going to talk about a property and I'm going to start with a slide like this, and I'm going to say, well, this is Grand Hotel Porto Venere. It's right in the center of town, incredible views, overlooking the bay, 47 rooms, 1600 monastery, and probably the newest building in town. And by now I would have lost the audience because this is the wrong slide to show. Do not ever show an image with a text next to it, because the text is what is going to draw the audience attention. So they're not going to listen to you, they're going to read. And you don't want them to read, because if you're telling a story, you don't want them to miss the first chapter because they're reading. You want the attention focus on you. So my advice is, when you create a presentation, do it with images only, because you are the one that's talking. You are the one that's telling a story. And if we come down to the appointment, the ideal would be 20, maximum 25 images. You have 20 minutes, and you're not going to use the 20 minutes just for the presentation. We'll see that. And so, and you don't want to have too many images, because otherwise you go blick, 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 and the other person gets dizzy, because you're jumping from an image to the other one, and you lose them. So about 20 to 25 most, use the most exciting, the sexiest, the most beautiful image of your property, of your destination. And this is it, and create a presentation with that one. Then another thing you want to do, I have to say something, I apologize for that. I'm going to use images, obviously, of the properties that I work with, because I know them, but it can apply, you can picture your property there. So another thing you want to do is want to showcase the property through your own eyes. This is what you want to do. You want to make it personal, right? And so, like, if I show you this is the outdoor lounge of a suite at Grand Hotel Porto Venere. Who wouldn't want to sit at that table having lunch in a day like that, overlooking the pastel color houses and the bay? So everybody wants to do it. You have to take them there. You have to take them to this Mediterranean garden, to these sun lounges by the pool on a sunny day. I picture myself there. It's me and my Kindle. That's my space. That's my spot. And this is what your audience has to feel. Or at the bar. This is a super cool, very posh, very chic bar. really, really, really something. It's like the place where to hang out. It's a mixology bar, and you want to sit at that bar. You want to have a drink. You want to sip your favorite drink. You want to see the barman, creating cocktails. That's what you want to do. So the point is this: you have to try to take your audience on a journey. You have to have your audience wanting to be there. So make them dream. That's the whole point. You have to make them dream. And I say showcase the property through your own eyes, because you know every corner of that place, or you know every single spot of that destination. And because of that, you know what's the best, and you know what is really worth it. And another important thing, and this goes especially to hoteliers, when we do presentations, most of the time we focus on our property. And that's the whole, of the attention, and that's the story that we tell, and that these are the images that we showcase. Well, we have to consider also showcasing images of the destination. If I'm talking about a property in the Dolomites, I'm going to show the Dolomites, right? I'm going to show the pink mountains, those famous mountains that turn pink at sunset and at sunrise. This is what I'm going to do. If I am going to talk about the Cinque Terre area, I'm going to show them what it looks like. It is important because if you show a destination, you give them a reason to go. In spite of how beautiful a property is, there always needs to be a sense of place, right? You have to link it to the place where this property is located. And the same thing goes for the experience. So include images of the surrounding area. Vivian and I did a webinar a few days ago, and we did a test. We decided to try and talk, I'm the guinea pig, right? We decided to try and talk about the area only. So we would give like a few highlights of the property, what the name of the hotel, where it is located, and then forget about the hotel and just talk about the area. The agents really liked it because you were telling them things that they didn't know. You were telling them things that they were not aware of. So that was like, that's why it's important to showcase the destination.
So what we did, to Raquel's point, because we have been doing so many webinars and presentations, and some of you that are on this call are my clients. So it's been constant because last year, of course, we couldn't meet face to face. So we were thinking, how do we reinvent the wheel? And we have reinvented the wheel in many different ways, for sure, including a big event in April. But I said, you know what? Me as an end consumer, right? As somebody who travels a lot, I don't necessarily choose the hotel first. I don't do that unless it's a spa and I'm going for a purpose. I choose the destination, and then we choose where we stay. So we chose to feature our destinations where all of our destinations were located. And this was through the Cameo collection, which is my sister company. And I cannot tell you how incredibly well it went. So Raquel mentioned her hotels briefly, where they were, sense of place, right? Couple of slides, that was it. And then it was all about the destination. And it was extremely, extremely well received. So that was, yes, you were the guinea pig.
I was a guinea pig. So it is important. Include always images of the surrounding area. Even though your property is downtown London, who cares? Show what it's around London. Everybody knows where London is, but show them what's around London. Even more if your property is off the beaten path. And then you have to find about your property, about your experience, about a certain destination, what is the highlight, right? And so I'm going to give you a few examples. For Grand Hotel Porto Venere, the highlight is the terrace. This terrace is to die for. It overlooks the bay, it overlooks the pastel color houses everybody comes to just see, it overlooks the island, and it's like you enjoy really watching life go by while you're sitting here. So this is the highlight for this property. For this property, which is on the Prosecco Hills, the highlight is the fact that it's got a 5-acre garden. For God's sake, that's a park. And this property was famous because of this garden, because during Dolce Vita's time, people would, tycoons and movie stars would leave Venice fed up with paparazzi, and they would come to the countryside. So this property with such a big space granted them privacy. So this is like the highlight for this hotel, right? You need to put it into context. This hotel has a 3 Michelin star restaurant. It's up in the Dolomites. It's stunning. And it's a 3 Michelin star restaurant with a menu featuring no caviar, no foie gras, and no lobster. And they have been doing this for 11 years. So they went back to basics. They kind of convinced the public that you could have very, very good high-end cuisine without having things that do not belong to that area. This is one of my favorite places. I mean, this property has a room with a retractable roof. It's called the Cabriolet Suite. There's a switch by the bed. You click on the switch and the roof slides open. And because you're right outside the little town on top of the hill, you know, you have no light pollution. You are actually, you feel like you can touch the Milky Way when you're in bed. So these are, you know, for these particular properties, but the same thing applies to yours. These are the highlights. These are the signature features. These are the things where you want to concentrate your presentation on, because this is what makes you different. And then this is one of my favorite parts, and this is one of the part I enjoy the most when I do presentation, is tell a story. Any kind of story. It could be an anecdote. It could be your personal story. It could be something that has happened to a guest, something that has happened to a colleague, right? That somehow links the property and the place together. This case, for instance, again, we are in Porto Venere. This particular spot is called Lord Byron's Grotto, because Lord Byron and Percy B. Shelley, romantic poets, they had their holiday home across the bay, on the other side, in what it's called now the towns of the Gulf of Poets. And Lord Byron was a very good swimmer. And one day they were very good friends. And one day Shelley tells Byron, you know what? You're not going to be able to swim from Porto Venere to my house. And the other one is picked and he says, I can do it. So he did it. Legend says that Byron actually swam from Porto Venere all the way to Lerici. It's a pretty long swim, I'm telling you. And now every year, at the end of summer, beginning of September, there's a Lord Byron swimming race. So, you know, this is a story. It's not just a swimming race, it's what's behind the swimming race, right? And you need also to get personal, to have other people laugh with you and at you. This is my case. For instance, I did something very stupid. Now that I look back at it, I took part in a FEM, and I did a via ferrata. For those who do not know what a via ferrata is, it's an iron cable inside a rock, and you use it to climb. To me, it's like one step below rock climbing. It's not, but to me, this is what feels like. So when I talk about the Dolomites and I talk about the signature experience you can have there, which is a via ferrata, I tell them my personal experience. You know, I took part in this FAM. I got to the point where we needed to start climbing. I had joined this group of travel agents. So, you know, I couldn't look like a chicken. I needed to show off. And one of the agents asked me that same morning, he goes like, and what do you do? And he meant, what do I do for a living? My reply was, I go to the beach. It was like, I don't belong here. So this is my story. I am making something personal out of it. And you could do it too, because you probably had thousands of interactions with guests, with agents, with colleagues, you know, about things that happen. And you talk about property or the location through yourself, through your personal experience. So, you know, tell a story, and if you can, make it personal, because they are going to remember that, and they're going to laugh with you, and they're going to laugh at you, depending on the story that you tell. And then the other part is the insider trading tips, as I call them. You know, insider trading, you know what it's like when you like buy stock options and you're not supposed to buy because you got information from someone else. Well, same thing goes here. You have to give the advisor information that they are not able to get on their own. To give you an idea, I told you about the property in the Prosecco area. Close by, there's this little town, and every other year, this town is called Marostica. The main square is a chessboard, right? And every other year, they got these chess games, this chess tournament. where the pieces of the chess, they're actual people. So the bishop, you know, it's a person. The knight has got a horse, and so that's what it's like. And two players outside the square, they move them around. This is super cool. Usually leaves people wow, because everybody knows in Italy about the Palio in Siena, but they don't know about this in Marastica. So you are telling them something that is useful for them, because you need to help them sell the destination. Beaches, for some reason, everybody thinks in Italy, beaches are pebble beaches. You know, it's probably because of the Amalfi Coast. Everybody goes to the Amalfi Coast is pebble. And so they think, well, the whole of Italy is pebble. So when you tell them that you have amazing white sandy beaches in different places, in my case here, it's because I need it for a property in Puglia. So this is Puglia, but there are other places. People go, really? You have these kind of beaches? Because they don't know. And if the advisor don't know, the client doesn't know, right? This one, back to the Dolomites. Ask anybody, not an Italian, but anybody outside of Italy. They tell you what's the largest ski area in the world. And they're going to say Switzerland, they're going to say France, and they're going to be wrong because it's Italy. But people don't know about that. We have 1,200 kilometers, 860 miles of ski runs, and a network that links networks of lifts that link 12 valleys. So when you're telling an agent, an advisor that specializes in active tourism, something like this, you're making him or her able to sell to the clients. Or when you talk about the Gulf of Poets, that we were saying before, same look and feel as Cinque Terre, but not even close to the same number of visitors, to the same number of tourists. Not that we had over tourism last year, but you know, generally speaking. So this is information that it's valuable for them. So it's one of the insider trading tips. So the information that you know because you're local, that you know because you live there, or because you know the area or you know the place very well, and they're gonna help them sell you eventually. Maps. Oh, my favorite thing. Maps. Always start your presentation with a map. Do not ever assume they know where you are, because they don't. They don't. You know, it's like the world is big. And even when you're in a big city, you are in Florence, the people know about Florence, you're in Rome, you're in Paris, do not assume that they know where you are. Give them references. In this case, the property that I want to showcase, it's in Asolo, right? But I show them Venice, I show them Verona, because that gives them a sense of how far away you are from these places, right? What is close by, what you can see. Or this one, it's an image I particularly like. This is not a property that I work with, and it's not a property that I know, but I like this one. This is Rome. And so because they are like in the heart of the shopping, of the fashion and shopping district in Rome, you know, Via Condotti, they are right there. So they use the designer stores as references beside, you know, the monuments. So this is my point. Show them what is around you. Even if you are in a place, people know about it. You know, do not take for granted that the audience knows the destination. The map is very important. It's super important. In my advice, I've tried to put the map in different part of my presentation. I decided the best way is to start with a map. And now we come to the title of today's presentation. Do not talk about the color of the curtain. So what happens is this, and it happens to all of us, and it's the fact that we tend to give a lot of information, more information than needed. We tend to talk about the difference between a deluxe double and a junior suite, and a junior suite and a suite, and the square footage, and it's got a balcony facing south or a balcony facing north, or it's got a fireplace. They're not going to remember. Forget about it. They're not going to remember. And it's not interesting. This is not sexy information. This is boring information. So give them an idea of what the feel for the room decor is. This case here, about this property, I say that it's quintessentially Mediterranean with a cosmopolitan soul, because you have elements, decoration elements from all over the world. This property here, I usually say that it's contemporary mountain style, understated luxury. I don't go into the details of how many rooms got a fireplace and how many rooms got a south-facing balcony and what type of wood is on the floor, because they will not remember. They would definitely not remember. And I don't talk about the color of the curtain, so don't do that. If they want to know, they ask. I'm telling you, this is, my experience. You have to pick their interest, but do not give too much information. Do not overkill. Killing is enough. Overkilling, not needed, because they won't remember anyway. And the most important thing is to not memorize a script. Engage in a conversation. When I was telling you at the beginning, use about 20 slides, because you don't have 20 minutes. It's not, you have 20 minutes, but you always start with, you introduce yourself and you ask, where do your clients go to? What do your clients like to do? Because according from what the advisor replies to you, you focus that conversation on that topic. An advisor has clients that are into food and wine. Perfect. So you give more time to your restaurant, to the winery, to the type of wines that you have, to the region, if it's a wine region. Another advisor is centered on spa. So on well-being. So you talk about that. If another advisor has got clients that are looking for the cultural part, well, then you tell them what's cultural in your area. That's why, if you memorize a script, the script is going to be always the same, and it's going to get boring for you and for the person on the other side, and you're not hitting the target. And to me, the best tip that I can give you, have fun. Because if you have fun, it shows. If you have fun, they can hear that you are having fun. And, don't worry if you forgot some information. Vivian can tell you, I always forget to tell that some of the property are seasonal and from when to when they're open. I never say that. It always slips my mind, but it doesn't matter, because I pick their interest for other things, and they always ask. This is one of the questions I always get. Is the property open year round? And I think, screw me, I didn't say it. Or I forget to tell them what's the closest airport, right? Because that's another thing that I sometimes forget. And so, they ask, how do I get there? So do not worry if you forget something. If you have fun, that's more important than the amount of information that you give, because at the end of the day, a big part of what you do is going to be the follow-up. So back to our first slide, where the image and the text was completely wrong for a presentation, that's perfect for a follow-up, because you're not there telling the story, and there's something to remind them of the story that you told. So I don't know if it was good. If you have questions, if
Raquel, no, I think that's I think it's great. And Ruth Ruth Gamper, who owns her public relations firm in Italy, I would say have fun and be yourself. And I think that's exactly right. I will tell you from my perspective, because I do so many of this on behalf of my clients, or facilitate on behalf of my clients. And I keep saying it, please avoid anything in writing, because indeed people will start reading. It's automatic. You're going to start reading and you're going to forget what the presenter, you're not going to pay attention. Your personality is the most important selling point. That's the most important selling point, is your personalities. It's your love and your passion for the hotel, the villa, or the DMC, or whatever you're representing. That people will read, it will come through. The purpose is to establish a relationship. I'm very big on relationships. The purpose is not to sit there and go blah blah blah, have 10 rooms, 15 connect, 10 rooms don't connect. Nobody cares, nobody remembers. I don't want to know about it, thank you. I can go online and take a look. I want to connect with you. I want you, Elena, to sell me, for me to want to experience it. But Louis, I want to make sure that you're like telling me that spa is the best spa in Miami, because that's how I'm going to make that decision. And I want to be able to reach out to you. After this presentation, I want to feel so comfortable in this presentation that I've established a relationship with you. That's the most important thing, because that will last forever. The presentation may slip your mind, but the personality will not.
yeah, it will stay. And the other thing is, now that we're facing the appointment, because for a webinar is easier somehow, you have to do it once. So
Right.
it's easy to be funny and to be engaging and to be all that once. With the appointment, you have to do it 15 times throughout the day through a screen, which is like the thing that excuse my French, it sucks, because it's not like a one-on-one thing. So, and you have to make sure that the last person that you present your property, your destination to, you have the same level of engagement as the first one, because to that last person, you are the first one. So it's like, that's why we were saying when we, send out the idea of this webinar, is like, you only have, one chance to make a good first impression. Because if you pass that, then that's it. So then that's why my point was have fun, because if you have fun, it's all right. You can have 15 presentation, you can do 20, you can do virtuoso week where you have the speed dating presentation thing. So you can do anything you basically like if you enjoy it. And when you get bored, give more time to the funny stories, because that will cheer you up too,
Yeah. And always engage, right? Always engage, always ask. I like to start my presentations asking questions because I'm interested to know the priorities and the goals and what they're dreaming of, that particular travel advisor. So I'm always asking, what are you looking for? Have you been? Have you not been? Do you like this? Do you like? So you engage in a conversation. Remember, you'll have 45 appointments over 3 days. It's a lot. And it's going to be a lot for the travel advisors as they're meeting with so many of us. We have over 100 exhibitors already registered, which is pretty amazing, as this just started out as just for us.
The underdogs, right?
It was just like, I was like, okay, Raquel, what do I do for my clients now? What do we do next in December? Yeah. And all of a sudden we all have over 100 and we're like, oh my God. So it's nerve wracking, but we're super excited. And it's a great opportunity to meet with really, really key people. Yeah. We have owners of agencies in the Virtuoso network. Virtuoso just confirmed to me